Sparking Change with Gigi, a show that aims to make the world a better place by bringing together authentic minds. This show encourages each of us to be the change we wish to see in the world. Get ready to be inspired and join us on this journey to create a brighter future for all.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Sparking Change with Gigi. I'm your host, Giovanna Tartarone, and today is a special show. It's a show that I want to share my gratitude to both my co-hosts that we do shows every week, Ahmed and Pablo. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. I am so very thankful to have you in my life and to share the love and the passion that you have to help people really see that there's another side of life that we have that we don't know that we have. So the teachings that we do on a weekly basis, I am very grateful for you guys. So Ahmed and Pablo, welcome.
Thank you.
From the bottom of my heart, I know both of you have made a commitment, and no one's paying us to do this, and we're doing this volunteering to really bring out the love and joy in the world. And again, your commitment is very much appreciated. And I just want to really share, like, why is gratitude so important to you, given that we're in the week of Thanksgiving, and everyone's giving grace and having gratitude for the turkey. let's look outside the turkey and say, what do we have to be grateful for that can bring us more joy in life? So, Ahmed, give us your perspective on, the spirit of gratitude.
Well, gratitude in general, it's more like a lens of scope on how we view the blessings in our life. And if we want more of the things that we don't have, we better start blessing those little things that we do have. And if you look at what I mean when I say a lens of scope, it's just that our perspective and awareness. For example, if I'm looking through a lens and it's far away from me, now the lens is pretty much small. But as I get closer to visualize and to appreciate those things that I couldn't see before, not with these eyes actually, but with an inner eye of understanding, what I'm doing is that I'm expanding my awareness to something greater that I did not appreciate prior to this moment.
And I'm, Pablo, I'll give you the stand right now and share with us how you began to see things from another perspective, because you changed as well.
Well, I want to continue with Brother Ahmed right here, because what's also true is if you take that the piece that you're looking at, if you turn it around, right, whatever you look at can seem so big, right? So the little things that you have, all of a sudden you're grateful for such a big thing because it really, really is. Now, myself going into this week of Thanksgiving, I look at Thanksgiving not as a meal. I think it's something. I think more like gratitude, being grateful for every single thing that you have. Starting your morning with gratitude, thanking God for everything He's given you, for another day. Thanking God for your companion, for your job, for your health. But then that continues on, and you really need to get into a habit of at least doing it breakfast, lunch, and dinner, right? Just get into that, and then what I also have gotten into the habit is writing a gratitude journal. Just writing 5 things that I'm grateful for every single day. And then before you know it, I have my journal is filled, and I know that from my journal, I see that all the things that I'm thankful for. And because of that, I know that God is faithful. Anything that He has promised, whether it's in the past, the present, or the future, He has made it a reality. So what that does is it has increased my faith uh, so much that's gratitude for me. Gratitude for me is being thankful when I'm all the way down, and 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 I have honestly I have passed the test. I have passed the test time and time again.
You,
One time, I was the victim of a cyber attack. They were asking for $1 million. I called the FBI. We did everything, filed out all the paperwork. Next, you know, someone that I had working in my office, he actually stole my servers, and then I paid him $250,000 to give me back my data. Not my servers, just my data. Now I had the cameras that capture everything. So I had police reports. I had everything. The next year,
yeah.
at that very moment, my daughter, she says, "Dad, you have to do something because we have the videos, we have everything that you can talk about this thing." But as opposed to going that way, being angry, being, come out that way, I thought about Job, and I said, no. No, I believe in God. That God has a purpose why He's doing this, and I have to pass this test. So when you're all the way down, you have to pass those tests. And I went into gratitude. And I really went into gratitude because I said, I know that as soon as I pass this test, I don't know what God's going to give me. But sure enough, I really felt like Job, and I know that he was going to double what the guy stole from me and everything. And God has more than kept His promise. He doubled everything that I lost. And if anything, He moved me into a new age because now I'm in the cloud. I no longer have servers, so nobody can steal my servers anymore. They can steal them. There's no servers. Everything's in the cloud. So see, something bad that happened, I turn into something good. But how did it happen? When that happened, I went to I just began to be grateful, thanking God, because I knew you have to go through everything that's bad in order to let the good stuff come in. So being grateful every single time for the good things as well as the bad things that happen to you.
well, I have to tell you, you must have been reading my mind because that was the next question, and you answered it before I even got a chance to ask it. So I was going to say, how can we give grace and gratitude when things are going wrong in our life? So, and you actually just answered it. So I'm going to give Ahmed an opportunity to answer the same question.
Well, gratitude is also a form of worship. It's one of God's laws that we have to abide by. And scripture in the Holy Quran tells us, it says, and if you are grateful, I shall increase and give you more from what you already have. Now, what I love about the story our brother Pablo has shared here is that he held on to faith. He didn't let adversity to shift his perception into feeling the emotion of lack. He tapped into his senses with sincere gratitude, which he tapped into infinite source of supply. Now we know our Creator can bless us anything.
Mm-hmm.
And there is no shortage in your God's kingdom. And when they say, I remember Bob, he was saying, he said, when you're looking at an illustration of the kingdom of heaven, of the actual gate, he says you don't see any knob on that gate, on the gate to the kingdom, because the gate to the kingdom is within you. So you really went in, you understood the law. It may be invisible to you, but not invisible to thy heart.
No, I thank you so much. Like I said, I really thought about Job and what happened, everything that he went through, all the trials, tribulations, and how God gave him doubled everything. And that's exactly what he did. Really, not enough can be said about Neville Goddard and what he taught me, that just be able to feel as if that you already have it.
Mm.
Because that in essence, that is true faith. That is true faith. Because then you're saying this is temporary. They
But not
separate.
only that, you're saying that and you're believing without seeing. Where, most of us, what we were taught, conditioned, whatever you want to call it, we were taught to, we must see it in order to believe it. But here we are, all three of us can vouch and say from our experiences and from what we have learned, it is the opposite. So I'll let you continue, Pablo, with believing it first, and then you shall receive.
Oh, uh, when I started into what I'm doing right now, living in faith, uh, I went on the retreat, the Napoleon Hill retreat, the Lions Gate, and in there I asked God what my purpose in life was, and I came out. I really did not know, but I went into my routine. 5 o'clock in the morning, go to the gym. So I go at 5 o'clock in the morning to the gym. Now I'm looking in YouTube for music, something to wake me up. And for the first time ever, I saw Dr. Joseph Murphy, The Power of I Am. So I'm like, okay, what is this all about, right? I come to find out that the power of I am is when Moses went up to a mountain and God told me, no, that you have a mess. You have to go see the Pharaoh and tell, let my people go. So say, well, that's all fine, but who am I supposed to say that I said this? Tell him, I am that I am. And then I learned everything about how powerful that is and how powerful it is, everything that follows the I am. So what you have to say is really what you want. And I really got into it. And then I went back to the group and I told everyone what had happened to me. To me, that was a revelation. The next day, I followed the same thing. And once again, now I hit my YouTube, boom. Reverend Ike is right there. Reverend Ike is telling me about the power of the subconscious mind.
Mm-hmm.
And if I can remember, it says, the subconscious mind is the believer. Whatever you can impress upon the subconscious mind can come to pass. Then visualization gets in between. And then if at the end of it, when you wake up, you start feeling it. You start feeling as if though you have already received all the good that you desire. When you wake up, you're going to see that what you were wishing for was a beta version, because God has something even bigger for you. Mm. And then it dawned on me. I went back to the group. I told the group everything again as to what had happened to me. And then there were a few people in there. They're all believers. So then the next day, I had Joel Osteen pop up on me, and 3 times, and bam, bam, bam. He also came up with the power of I am, and this. So then that was my takeaway from there. So when I finished that, and I came out with I was supposed to serve. Now comes the good part. So I'm supposed to serve, but I don't know how I'm supposed to serve. So next thing you know, I wake up and I see that I'm supposed to be doing videos, sharing the word with the world. God, I don't even know any equipment to do this. I have never done one video or anything like that. How is it that I'm supposed to do this, right? So just like with everything, right? The first comes doubt as to how am I supposed to do these things? So how am I supposed to do this thing? And then I took on the challenge and I began to do it. And next thing you know, before you know it, Gigi's calling me up to do this. So now when I'm doing it with Gigi, there's no script. Everything's coming straight from the heart. And it's like, it's like, you can do this. You can do this. And then right now, I think I have over 300 videos. I have over 1,600 viewers. And all these people that I'm helping. Today's devotional that I did was all about walking with the Spirit. And this lady says to me, it's an old lady, and she's, that's the way, Mr. Sanchez. That's the way, Mr. Sanchez. You know, you have to walk with the spirit. Do not give in to the earthly things. Do not give in to the flesh, Mr. Sanchez. And she's like going at it. I mean, when you get something like that from somebody that has seen the video, right? It's like, wow.
You're making a difference. You're making a difference.
Make a well. So, uh, myself, when I started doing this thing, the big picture that I had a picture of Joel Osteen standing in his congregation, and it's full of people. So I visualized myself being like him one day and doing that. Hey, having all these people that I was in front of them. So to me, that's the vision that I have. That's what I want to do, and that's how I started with this thing. So I realized that it's all baby steps. Like you said at the very beginning, all afraid, how am I going to do this? But here we are. I'm with my brother Agnet. Oh,
I love it. So, we made
oh wow.
Double hug.
Big hug.
Wow.
And love. So, Ahmed, I'm going to come back to you now, and I'm going to pick on something very important that Pablo said about the I am. Because I've learned through my own transformation is that everything that we say after these two little words, we're claiming it, good or bad. So can we talk about that a little bit, like the powerful meaning of I am?
Absolutely. It's a declaration, because your state of believing comes only after your state of being.
Say that one more time, please.
Your state of believing comes only after your state of being. You see,
so you must be,
in order to be able to have the belief as a subconscious level.
So let's go deeper, a little bit deeper into that.
For example, I like to go back to Andrew Carnegie again. When he told Hill, he said, any idea that's held in the mind, that's emphasized, that's either feared or revered, which means either bad or good, will begin at once to clothe itself in the most convenient physical form that's available. So if we take a step back, I need to ask myself, who am I? Right? And by me and I don't mean that myself as a body, myself as a name, but who am I framing myself to be? This is the key question. Now, now today's topic is about gratitude. Now, the question I would ask myself, am I grateful? And if not, what are the things that I can be grateful for? So there is some cultivation required, right? I want to sow a seed, and then I want to harvest from the seed. But it cannot happen without the element of care and attention and commitment. So I'm sowing the seeds of gratitude within myself in order that I can call myself that I am grateful and that I believe it. Now, how do I know if my belief is certain and it has taken effect? I will see the results of things changing in my life, in my environment, based on the belief that I have cultivated within me.
Yes.
Why would I do that? Now, I said earlier that gratitude is a form of worship. And it's subjected all the way down to faith. Only then I can say, yes, I am faithful. As what Brother Pablo stated in his story, that in the face of adversity, he was still grateful for all the things that he still has. And therefore, it came back to him multiple fold. And you see these results manifesting into your life. They unfold themselves. But you need to cultivate it first within you. Cultivate that little spiritual seed. As Bob said, it's made from the same stuff as an ordinary seed. And you just have to look after it until it grows in a stem, then it blossoms before it gives you the fruit.
Absolutely. And I want to add to that is that we must be grateful for ourselves first. We have to acknowledge our spirit, our soul. And through that, we can then be grateful for everything else. For those
Absolutely.
who don't see what they need to be grateful for, I say look inside first, right? Honor yourself, because being grateful for yourself is respecting your heart and your soul and your spirit. And that is what brings us more joy in our life. So let's talk about how much joy we get from having gratitude. I mean, Pablo, I'll go back to you. You said, and we all do this, right? It's writing gratitude in our gratitude journal. I do that every morning myself, just to acknowledge not only myself for having what I have, but where it comes from. Because we must understand we live in a world that we are co creators. We're not just creators, we are co creators. So everything that we do create, it's with something that is greater than us that's helping us. Right, Pablo?
Yes. Right now, I'd just like to read one piece with respect to joy. Is in the Galatians 5:22 to 23. It says, Paul presents us with the fruit of the Spirit: love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self control. These are not just lofty ideas, they are very characteristics that transform our lives and the lives of those around us. Now, thinking about uh, about gratitude, special psalm is Psalm number 100, right? And it captures right here the spirit. It says, "Make joyful noise unto the Lord, all your lands." It says, "Serve the Lord with gladness. Come before His presence with singing." It says, "Know that yet the Lord, He is God. It is He that made us, and not we ourselves. We are His people and the sheep of His pasture." Oh my goodness. I love Psalms because Psalms, they're really, you're really singing to God, singing praises. And we have praises as thanking God for everything that He has given us. I find that every single time, in the morning, in the afternoon, I have so many reasons to be thankful for. And so, yes, so I,
Beautiful. So I'm going to go to the next question, because we all, I mean, Pablo, you just shared with us how, you were at the gym and you got curious. You saw this YouTube video and you're like, you know what? Let me just hear what this guy has to say. And that's how the beginning of your transformation happened, right? My transformation happened when I experienced a cancer diagnosis, and I'm like, wait a minute, I'm doing all this in my life. I've worked really hard. I tried to be the best person I can be. Why did this happen? So I was seeking for answers to why, and then I realized that um, I was a doer. Ahmed, you mentioned, being, the state of being, right? I was a doer. I felt like I had to do everything. So, because I put so much pressure on myself, I now see that my experience with my health issue was because, again, feeling like I was alone and I had to do it all in order to provide for my family, or in order to get that degree and have that status, or in order to make all that money and have, just be up there. And I got it was almost like a big wake up call for me, a tremendous wake up call to understand that no, I don't have to do it all. I have to acknowledge that there's something bigger than me that's guiding me, that will help me. All I needed to do was have faith. So my faith grew to the point where I don't do anything. There's nothing I can do that I don't act on the side of faith. And I'll give you a perfect example. So I said this many times before on a show that, I was born in Italy. And when I was little, there was this big black dog that came next to me in my playpen. And ever since that time, I would never had any animals. Like there were no animals. My son was begging me for animals. Never. Well, I believe he was maybe 16, 17 when I had my cancer. Maybe, yeah, about 17. And he came home with a little kitten. And her name is Penny. And I'm like, oh my God, how am I going to do this? Like I wanted to make my son happy, but I knew I could not deal with animals. But realizing, opening up my heart to understand that she was there to also help me, right? Having faith that there's a reason why this cat came to me. So I got used to the animal. 2 days ago, I went into my car. It was that night. I forgot something in my car. I go to my car. I close the door and I turn around and there is this big black dog staring at me. Like, and I'm like, go away, go away, go, just go. Not now, just go. And I'm like, where did that come out of? Like I felt like I was in control in a sense, right? And the dog listened to me. And my daughter's like, Mom, where is this dog? I want to see. We have to find it. I'm like, please shut the door. Don't open the door. I'm like, I made it alive. But here's what I want to say from this story is that my faith grew so much that the fear of whatever I was experiencing at that moment with this dog, which I know I had fear of black dogs for all my life, all of a sudden went away. And I want to express that because truly the inner being took over. So when we are living in faith and we know that there's something there that is helping us, we can overcome anything. But the truth of the matter is that we cannot be in faith and fear at the same time. Pick one. And when you're so concerned about what's going on out in the world, when you are so worried about the unknown, you're creating a separation. Let me make that clear. There's a separation in that. The fear comes because you're not trusting that there's something greater than you that can help you, that is guiding you, that is watching you, that is leading you in the right direction. So, Ahmed, let's talk about that. Let's emphasize a little bit on faith versus fear, because I believe a lot of people are in that direction, in the wrong direction.
Three things or different abbreviations of the words FEAR. One of them is false evidences appearing real, or false emotions appearing real.
Mm-hmm.
As Price Pritchard says, absence of evidence is not evidence of absence. But that's if you flip it to the other side, which means face everything and rise. Mm. That's another term of fear. So what do you hold the word fear as a definition to you? This is key. Two, when you want to apply faith, you have to also understand how to surrender. Because everybody has, let's say, looking at things from an analytical point of view. But when you enter into the spirit of things, you have to surrender and trust. Or as Bob always said, it's you apply faith based on understanding. And what you're doing here is that when you describe the term faith, you're establishing a divine connection. It's always with you. God is always present within you, but your consciousness keeps shifting to the past and the present, or past or the future, and you're not being present in the moment with the God or the divine that's within you, right? So we need to be present, and the more you practice that, you're going to start to cultivate something called contentment. This is where you feel at peace. This is where you feel a joy. This is where you can feel God's mercy upon you. And whatever happens in your life, it doesn't matter how it looks on the outside. You know that God is taking care of that right now. We may not be able to understand, or as Steve Jobs said, you can't connect the dots looking forward, but you can always connect them looking backwards. So we need to have a little bit of patience and understand. And Scripture tells us, he said, And there may be things that you may love, but it could be harmful for you. And there may be things that you may hate, but it could be beneficial for you. We don't know yet what's going on through the process, but we must trust in the blessed outcome of the entire situation or circumstance. Because it doesn't matter. Adversity always masquerades a blessing. I will repeat that again. Adversity always masquerades a blessing. We may not be able to see and understand what's going on at this moment, but if we hold true to our faith and gratitude and surrender and appreciate, God will always bless us with something way greater than what we have expected for ourselves.
And you are absolutely correct, because here I am, doing something that is so much greater than I am, right? I never thought that I would have a TV show, I would write a book, going from feeling and facing death. I'm going to be totally transparent here, thinking my life was coming to an end. And here I am serving from my heart, and so very grateful to have both of you in my life. So Pablo, yes, let's talk about exactly the same thing, like from, fear versus faith, right?
Well, for myself, what I find is that fear is really the lack of awareness. It is really the lack of yourself knowing the characteristics of God. You need to get to know God a little bit. You need to read the scripture. You need to get into prayer. That's how I have been able to get rid of all of my fear. The Bible, once again, is full of stories as to God's faithfulness. And when you see that everything that He has done, and it's all right there, and all of His promises have come true, and time again. And then you can also see those things happening right here in this world. You know that God is a faithful God. And if you have that strong faith, fear will dissipate. Fear will not have any chance of being in your life. Some major examples. I mean, one that people can really think about is you talk about Rockefeller, right? Rockefeller at age 53. He was told he was going to die, and actually, no, he was the first multi-billionaire. He's going to die. What did he do? He started because of his illness. He's going to die. I think they gave him just 1 year to die. So he brought in his lawyers, his accountants. Okay, we're going to do this. We're going to give everything away. And next, when he started giving money away, he gave money away for research for penicillin, right? And then they were giving away. And it is said that as he started giving money away, his health began to come back. And he died at the age of 93 or 93. So it's once again, it's a given. It is in the gift of giving. That's where your gratitude comes from. When you do that, God sees everything, but not everything that happens to you. God has seen every single tear that you have. He's seen your prayers. He's seen everything. To me, what my own personal right now story is. As a CPA, I was making a lot of money, but I went through a divorce, and next on a Saturday I go over there and I make a whole bunch of money, and then I come home, and I have a fight with God, and I said, God, what is the sense of myself having all of this money, doing all of this? And I threw the money up in there. I was yelling at Him, saying, what's the sense of having all of this if I cannot share it with anyone? You really have to hit bottom. And sometimes that has to happen. When the emotion is in there, things change. God listens to you. He does listen to you. Next I have a dream, or some lady tells me is that, hey, God says you need to calm down, okay? The lady has ready for you. She's kneeling down, and she's praying for you, but she's not ready yet. And next, you know, when I was working one day, she walked into my office, and I knew it was her, and I didn't let her go, and that's been it. But it really did. You have to sometimes you have to hit bottom in order for things to change, and it's all in your faith.
Absolutely. And there's the other part of when you are living in faith, and you talked about giving, right? How through giving we feel more connected. We receive more of that inner peace. It's all about the being part of us that you're honoring through giving. So Ahmed, let's talk about that. Let's talk about how through giving is when we receive, our prayers are answered. They're not answered when we take. They're answered when we
If
give.
I may, Gigi,
Yes.
Brother Ahmed, just want to switch it a little bit. Let's talk about Rockefeller, right? And how his health changed
Yes. Through giving.
when he changed, because one of the things we can really say is that it was his fear of dying, right, made it collaborated to his health going all the way down. And then how when his beliefs change, how things happen, please.
Well, I'm going to just add to that because I can relate a little bit to him in a sense that when it came down to the day of my surgery, where my first thing was I made a stop at the hospital and I lit out. I made a stop at the church before the hospital and lit some candles. And I requested, and I said, God, please keep me alive for my family. They need me. He answered, right? How can I not devote my life to God for answering those prayers? So I'm here to say, don't wait for something like that to happen to give yourself to God. Surrender before something like that happens. Because He will take care of you. He is taking care of you all the time. You just need to acknowledge, right? But
Absolutely.
so, I have to say, and through that, here I am serving. And I love what I do. I love what I do to help people see the light, to get out of the darkness, because we are in darkness when we're not connected. When we're disconnected, we are in darkness. And so all three of us here, we go, I have the show 3 times a week to share the light. That's what we're doing here. We're sharing our light to reach those who are living in the dark, who are struggling, who are, have lost faith. And, we're the witness, right? I mean, Ahmed, you can share,
Yes.
your story, because I know you had a hard time as well before you began to worship.
There were a couple of times that I got very ill. Once when I was 18, I was about to die in the hospital. I had the ECGs connected to me. And, went through some hard times, and I was at a point in my life that I didn't want to live anymore. So let's keep it at that.
Mm-hmm.
I was having like around 180 beats per minute, and this lasted for almost 8 hours. And during those times, I still remember lying down in the hospital, looking at the ceiling, the beeping of the machines, and you reach to that zone of pure silence. And I was trying as hard as I could not to fall asleep. I was just hanging on to that last rope of hope that I had. And from inside of me, I was communicating directly to God, and I was saying that I know I've done wrong. Please forgive me, but I'm not ready to come right now. So I tapped into that, and I thanked him for that. I said, thank you for everything you've done for me. It didn't take long after that. The rhythm of my heart started to regulate. So ever since then, I started understanding more about health. What are the things that can help keep a person healthy? And as an act of gratitude, I started doing exactly what you were mentioning, Brother Pablo, about John Rockefeller. But I was doing it in my own way. I was serving by helping to educate those that were struggling. A couple of years back, during the beginning of the pandemic, I had a very troublesome, health-wise, and I had this cough that wouldn't go away for a few months, no matter what I did, and I was feeling always cloud-headed. I was about to pass out a few times at work, and we had another coworker who had a brother who was diagnosed with cancer. Now, I couldn't see that, so I had to, I asked if I could meet this young man, and I went. I sat with him, spoke to him about it. I got the things from my house, a lot of different herbs, and I went to present to him. Now, I was not feeling well at all either, but I was doing that because what you give comes back to you. But I was not doing it for anything to come back. When you give unconditionally. This is the law.
Yes.
You give from all of your heart with no expectations in return. I didn't want anything from anybody. If there's one thing that I ever wanted, I just wanted God to be pleased with my actions. Gradually, I received an infection in my finger. I work in a school with a lot of children. I don't know who was sick. And I had this sudden rash, and it was a viral infection. So I went to the doctor, and he prescribed me a medication. I took that medication, and not only it took the rash away, but it even took my cough away. So my health started to get restored all of a sudden. But this is what happens, is that when you give unconditionally, every condition for you to receive gets dropped. Because it goes hand in hand in receiving. And it's like a form of tithing in a way, right? We're here to do what? Make the best out of ourselves, and two, to serve others. So what God's work am I doing today as a form of tithing? Tithing does not necessarily mean always money. Yes, you have to keep a share of that too. Because, he's your greatest mastermind that you will ever have in your life. And if you focus in any area, if it's wealth you're seeking, give. If it's health you're seeking, help someone heal. If it's a happy relationship you're seeking, help someone restore their relationship. Wherever you're giving in any area will come back to you. I've tested this. I know, and I can speak it for myself.
I believe that too. All right, Pablo, to you, my friend.
Boy, some people are going to think that we rehearsed this.
No.
I promise this was not rehearsed.
Because shortly before I met my wife, what I did is I actually was praying for my exes. I was praying for my exes, for them to be happy, for them to find their other halves, for them to do everything. After I did all of that, I met mine.
Wow.
That's the way that it happened. You spoke about giving unconditionally. And myself, I am a CPA. I'm a very busy man. But somebody comes in, I treat them like as if I thought they were my best client. Irrespective of anything, I treat them like my best client. And would you believe it? The poor person will always say, how much do I owe you? The rich person, they just walk out. I myself, I have been doing this work for a lot of poor people for 15 years now, and never asking for anything in return. I just did it because it's my work, and I'm serious. Whomever comes in, I give them all of my time. They're my only client, and that's it. The best client ever. Next thing you know, 2 years ago, I get a job, and I'm gonna tell the story. Do I have time for a quick story, Gigi?
Yeah, we do. We do that.
So here in New York, 3 days of rain, and next thing you know, during the first day of rain, I get this lady calling me, and then I don't even know who she is, but she's saying, "Call me," and I wrote her name in there. Call me. I did not know who it was. Next, you know, she calls me on the second day, and then I found out that it's a lady that I had met in the previous life, and the lady, she was the controller at a company that I used to audit, and then at the time, and then I knew that she had left that job and she was doing insurance now, so I thought she was doing insurance. But then when I finally called her back, she says that she has this CFO position at this company that's going to go public, and he has all these things like that. So then I'm thinking, so now she's a recruiter. She wants my resume to show that she knows people of caliber that can do this thing, right? So okay, so I give her my resume. Next, you know, she calls me. They said that they want to see me. I'm like, they want to see me. I don't even know what you're talking about. So then, what's the name of the company? I give the name of the company to my brothers, who they're all our technology experts, and they said, "No, Pablo, this is the technology of the future. This is for real." So I go to the interview. When I go to the interview, I see the lady right there. I'm like, wait a moment. I'm at the office over here. What is the lady doing here? Well, since when is the recruiter present, right? And then turns out that she was the controller. They were looking for a CFO for the company. I went in there. I got the job. The job is like kind of a part-time thing. But next thing you know, I'm getting this six-figure salary bump, and things have not started yet. What I'm saying is, all of the years that I worked, you know, and I was not getting compensated because of the way that I was serving. I started receiving the money the tenfold, and I was not even working at it yet. So when you give unconditionally, God sees what you're doing, and He's not forgetting.
Yes.
I am an example of that, because that's exactly what happened. But in the middle of things, I forgot to tell the joke. Okay, so the joke, and the reason why I ended up listening to Anna is because it reminded me of a joke. And that's like when I called Anna, and she says that it's raining for 3 days, and then as soon as it begins to rain, you know, the fire department comes and says Pablo, you got to get out of here. He says, no, I trust God. God's going to get me out of this. I don't need you. Go away. Next thing you know, a helicopter comes to get me, right? Because the water has risen. It says, no, God's going to help me. No, you can get out of here. Finally, drown and go to heaven. I'm like, God, what happened? I do this devotion for you every day and everything, and you let me die. He says, Pablo, come on now. When the water started rising, I sent the firemen to get you. I even sent the helicopter to save you. You didn't listen. So the thing is that if you're close to God, you have the awareness, and if you read your Bible, you get into prayer, God is going to speak to you directly. And if you're speaking directly, like in my case, I would no, that guy sending me the ambulance because he wants me to get out. He knows what's going to happen. So the only way that we can do this is with getting to know who God is, knowing that God is faithful, and that just know that whatever he created this world. My goodness. The other day, I went out to Long Island, and I felt like I was chasing the moon. The moon was like so big right here. And it's I'm just so thankful for God for the moon, then the sun rising every morning. You start thinking about it, right? When you think about, how, supposedly God created us in the 6 days, right? Think about what one day was. So, is He in here with me right now? Yes, He is. He's over there also. He's everywhere. Because for a minute for Him is thousands of years. Imagine that, right?
Love it. I love it. So, there is level of awareness that we spoke about. It all begins with our thoughts and our words that we speak. And, of course, Pablo, you have this beautiful quote, change your thoughts and you change your world.
Would you believe that? And this is it. And this was given to me. This was given to me over 20 years ago. And it turns out that Dr. Joseph Murphy was the one that did this. The guy that came to me on the thing. So think about it. So things happen, but if you're not aware, you don't know.
That's right. So these messages come to us, right? This is what you're saying. These messages come to us. And are we listening? Because, there is no, I know now, there's no mistakes. There's no coincidences. I believe the universe, God, whatever you like to call it, does things just at the right time, right? Because it's not our timing, it's their timing.
Absolutely.
But Ahmed, we have about 5 minutes left. Let's just talk about maybe 2 minutes for you, 2 minutes for Pablo. How important it is to be aware of the words that we speak and our thoughts and having, control over them. Because if they control us, I think we'll always lose. So.
Well, you see, the words that you speak, as I said earlier, it's a declaration. It's like you're casting spells, although they wouldn't call it spelling, right? So that's one. Now they may be invisible to you. You don't know what you're saying, but every note, every connotation has a vibration, and it operates on a certain level of frequency, right? But it doesn't just come out. Words are, let's say, it's secondary to our thoughts, right? But the repetition of the things that we say changes how we feel about what we're saying. Now, sometimes the surge of emotions compels us to say something we didn't mean to at any given time. But we should always, as I said earlier, be present, right? Take a moment to think. There is a little gap between thought and speech. Be present in that moment and ask yourself, is the thing I'm about to say, is it something that would empower myself and others, or is it going to disempower myself and others? Now,
Beautiful.
we're meant to do good across, and I want to share a poem by Rumi. He talks about a cloak. Now, we know Harry Potter has an invisible cloak, but this cloak, nevertheless, it's also invisible as well, because it has to be within the person themselves. And it says, wear gratitude like a cloak, and it will feed every corner of your life. Dress yourself with it. Bless every little thing that you have. See the good in yourself, see the good in everything and in everyone. And be grateful. As Bob always said when he's writing his gratitude list at the end, now bless 3 people who have done harm to you. Why is that? Because what you give out comes back.
I love it. All right, Pablo, we have about a minute.
See, we're talking about blessings. Yeah, blessed by exercise. Then I found my happiness.
Now you know the secret of life.
Well, what I have to say is, before I started my journey, I read the book, The Four Agreements.
The Four Agreements?
The Four Agreements was key to unlocking my awareness. I'm going to read them real quick. It says, the first was be impeccable with your words. That's Proverbs 12:18. It's just the words of the reckless pierce like words, like swords, but the tongue of the wise brings healing. Beautiful. Said number two, don't take anything personally. Oh my God. Had I read this when I was younger, I would have been such a better person. Oh my God. Because poor Pablo, I took everything personal. That's the worst thing that can happen to anyone. The next one is do not make any assumptions. To make any assumptions, reiterate what it is. Even if, as a leader, as a boss, before you let your secretary go or any co-worker go, just tell them to repeat what it is that you're supposed to do. That way, there's no misinterpretations. So that way, you don't find out later on that somebody was upset with you because they thought that's what you said. No, that's not the case. A lot of the things as to why people do not forgive is because they may misinterpreted something at some time. And then the last one, do your best, do your absolute best with everything that you do. Do not expect any rewards, but just do your best. God is seeing everything that you do.
For the love of God.
That is correct. So good.
So I want to thank you both for sharing this time with me, and my audience, thank you for joining us today. I can only say that I am very grateful to each and every one of you, because you are the reason why I'm doing this, right? You bring me the joy, and I know it comes back to me tenfold. So Ahmed and Pablo, thank you for joining me, and everyone, thank you for joining me, and I wish you and your family all the best this Thanksgiving week and always. All right. Bye-bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you for joining us.
Thank you for that.
Thank you for joining me on Sparking Change with Gigi. I hope that our episode today has ignited a spark within you to create positive change in your own life and in the world around you. To learn more about how you can become a guest or supporter, head over to sparkingchangenow.com. If you enjoyed today's episode, please consider subscribing, sharing, and leaving a review. Your feedback is incredibly valuable to me, and it helps me to continue producing content that sparks change in each of us and the world. You can find us on various platforms, including Google Play Store, Apple App Store, YouTube, Facebook, Roku, Android TV, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. Thank you again for watching, and I look forward to having you join me again next week on Sparking Change with Gigi.